So they've
been around. Like they were at my in-laws' place like maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was just crazy how many of them there was. And I was like, man, we don't have any at our house, and we literally have not had any here until maybe 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't even seen the cicada, but I've seen their shells.
There's 2 hatches happening this year that, like, where I live and where you live are like in the overlap.
So that's perfect.
We're gonna have like
Wonderful.
double the cicadas that we would normally have.
Double the cicadas.
Yeah.
And they said that they. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's been pretty wild here at my mother-in-law, father-in-law's. Like here in Mountain View, it's been like a ton.
They said the copperheads.
How long are you in town, Tyler?
I leave in the morning.
Damn it!
Go back tomorrow. Man, it's been a whirlwind. It's been crazy. Like, bouncing back and forth between the two families, and then we went up to Rolla to go visit my grandma. I haven't been up there in 4 years, so it's just been.
Did she get hit by the tornado over there?
No, they were good.
I seen they had like softball size hail in Rolla that day that you were driving into town, like Wednesday or whatever.
Dude. Yeah, I followed it in.
Yeah.
Like I literally stayed right behind it the whole time, which was really good.
It was wild. Yeah. I was watching it all day. Like the whole
he randomly texted me at like lunchtime, and he was like, you guys are fixing to get hit by a tornado. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you, like a storm chaser now? Or he like sends me a link to this guy that he watches. Yeah. This guy that he watches, I was like, yeah, no, it was on the ground. Wednesday was a wild.
Like the whole I-44 corridor through Missouri was just tornado. And Tennessee was.
I used to have a traveling partner that would chase tornadoes while we were going to rodeos. He would like veer off and be like, "Oh yeah, let's go chase this tornado real quick. We got time." I'm like, dude, no, like I don't want to go chase that thing. But
we went to one of old Kenny Treadway's rodeos in North Georgia one time, and we drove through. I'm talking about a horrendous tornado storm to get there, and then all of a sudden it's like black, like 3:00 in the afternoon, nighttime, and then all of a sudden we just like it's just light, and there's like I'm looking, and there's just like this perfect circle of like no clouds right above us. I'm like, this is not good. And sure enough, we pull up to the rodeo, and like the tornado sirens are going off in town, and they've got the draw done, and I've got this arm yanking freaking miserable thing of Kenny Treadway's, and they're like, well, we postponed the rodeo tornado. Till probably. And they postponed the rodeo till Sunday. Well, it was a Friday perf, and we were entered somewhere else in Hampton, Arkansas on Saturday. And they were like, well, you can get your fees back. Or you can just come back on Sunday. I was like, I'll take my money. We went to Olive Garden. we used our entry fee money at Olive Garden. It's like the nicest meal we'd ate in months. And we went and treated ourselves to Olive Garden, and then went to Hampton. I was like, man, dodged a bullet there.
Straight up, dude. How that never happened again in your lifetime?
No.
Ever.
No, it was that I paid for that. Yeah, I paid for that good karma for the rest of my career. I should have just gotten on the arm yanking thing, come back on Sunday, taken what was due, and then maybe I would have got better breaks later on. Yeah.
Coulda, woulda,
anyway.
shoulda.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda, for sure. Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Oh man. Dude, my I don't know if you saw, I was just throwing on some Power Pro. My freaking neck and shoulders have been so tight. And
really?
That stuff zaps it instantly. It is
really?
so badass. I love it.
Oh, yeah, I bet you have been with all the hiking and stuff that you've been doing the last couple weeks.
My shoulders aren't that is the best my neck and shoulders feel all year is when I'm hunting and hiking. And it's because I'm not doing this all day.
Yeah.
And even right now, I can my shoulders are pulled forward. I can feel the tension in my neck. I'm like, all right, I need to sit up. But when I'm hiking, that pack it supports off your hip, right? Mm-hmm. So there's hardly any tension like on my shoulders. I move it up above your hip, and then you pull it down. And the way they're set up is they pivot off of your lower back and your hip, and they take all that weight from to the middle of your body rather than pulling you back.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way when I first started this because I did not realize how those were set up, and I did have it just sucked down to my shoulders, and I was blown up in my traps, dude, within 10 minutes.
I bet.
Like, what is wrong? I can't do this forever. Are you kidding me? And then someone had to show me, like, no.
I finally got, and it's used, but I finally got one of those baby carrier or like the kid backpacks with the frame and everything. It's like a hunting pack,
I was just kidding when I said I wanted to ride one of those with you, dude.
No, you're outside the weight limit, but for me, but game changer. I've been wanting to get one since we had our first kid, and they're so expensive. I was like putting it off, and I finally found a used one that was a decent price, and I was like, okay, I'll get it. And now I'm kicking myself that I haven't had it for the last 5 years. So,
dude, they are pretty handy. I choose to my favorite way to carry my smallest child just by an ankle. If you just grab the ankle and you just sling him over the shoulder like this, and then you can just swap arms. And they don't like it a whole lot, but it makes it pretty easy packing them around, So it's the best way. The baby carriers, they're too expensive.
All the blood rushes
sling them over your shoulder and take off
pretty quick.
They're fun. Yeah,
they calm down after a little bit.
They're just like blacking out every 2 seconds. Like, oh god. Hey, if you want to see something crazy, and I know, sorry, hunting, but there's a hunting video that Stone Glacier did. It's a company in Montana. They do a lot of veteran supported stuff. So amputee from the waist down. They took him in on a pack like that, like an adapted pack, on a mountain goat hunt in Alaska.
What?
Dude, and you're talking about having to climb up this wild terrain with this dude on his back and get him set up and help him, It was, if you don't like hunting, it's probably one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen. I just watched it the other day.
That's so cool.
Away, dude. It was so cool. So cool. But when he started talking about that pack, I was like, you guys got to check this out, even just for the basis of it's just so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, super cool. What's new in your world besides tornadoes and big bugs, which I don't have either of those things?
That's pretty much been the excitement around here.
Snakes?
Yeah.
What'd you say about?
Oh,
snakes?
well, they said that because of the influx of cicadas,
they eat.
that copperheads are gonna be crazy this year, or have already, and that they are hanging out. A lot of times copperheads, you see them, but they're pretty they're gonna be hanging out around the bases of trees because of the cicadas and stuff, and so
trees.
Or hanging from trees. So anyway, you got to pay attention to the copper. We have a every summer I see at least one snake. It's the reason I refuse to get underneath my house in the summertime. I only do it in the wintertime. I will not get up underneath there, not to maintenance anything. If we get a leak in the summertime, we'll flood because I'm not getting underneath there. I'm not doing it. Nope. Because every time I've seen a snake, every summer I've lived here, I've seen a snake, and it goes in a crack between the steps at our back door and the basement. And I know it's going in there. I know, and I'm like, you can't really move very fast when you're in a crawl space that's barely big enough for you to. So I crawl underneath there and face to face with some sort of snake. Where am I going to go? Nowhere. I can't get out of there. I can't use my hands. I'm in a straitjacket underneath the house. Ain't happening. Nightmares. That's what nightmares are made of. I'm not doing it. So
the highest pitch scream coming out of Logan, coming face to face.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh,
hey,
no
bro,
doubt.
I'd be in the same boat. Nope ropes for me. I'm out.
Yeah.
Right.
Spiders all day. Snakes, I don't do them. I don't care. Bad snake doesn't matter.
The positive side effect of the cicadas is the fishing is supposed to be nuts this year.
Let's go.
I'm
there you go.
Gonna try and get in on some of that.
Logan, this is your year to get into it, buddy.
Yeah, it might be.
Talk about something fun to do with the boys.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. They went fishing the other day at the pond down at Papa's house. They got a bunch of bass and stuff in that pond. They love going down there. But I might. You never know. We might. We're gonna try to live through ball season that starts next week.
Oh boy, yeah.
First, and if we can survive the next 6 weeks, we'll talk about some fishing.
You guys are so good though, doing so much for the kids. Like last weekend, you're at the junior rodeo or the kids rodeo. And I was thinking to myself, and I was looking at your last schedule you sent us for baseball. I was like, the last thing I'd be doing is going to another activity. I'd be taking this weekend off.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Yeah. You guys are killing it.
Well, there's only 4 of those junior rodeo weekends in the summer, one a month. And so it's kind of hard to Not, and Cannon's pretty committed. If all the kids didn't really care, well, we'd probably skip it. But I mean, Cannon's roping the dummy almost every day. He's been riding some sheep on and off at the house. He's like pretty interested, and I mean, how many hours has he sat at Conley's gymnastics practice over the last 6 months? And done nothing, had to sit on his hands, and it's like, all right, this is his weekend to shine. So it's kind of an opportunity for us to do that. But yeah, the junior rodeos, and they're fun too, right? There are people we know a lot of the people there and have good friendships. I've college rodeoed with a lot of the people that come now that have kids there, and so we're able to just hang out, awesome, and they're enjoyable weekends. But it is a lot. You're right. It is a lot. But you know me,
I do.
I have a hard time saying no.
All in or nothing, baby. All in or nothing.
Sure.
We'll Let's do it all in Logan for nothing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Real dumb. Anyway, that's all we got going on. That's we're just dadding.
Good. Paul, is your life that exciting?
Sure.
Let's hear it. It sounds like it. I'm ready for this.
No, it's really not. My parents were in town this last weekend, so we tried to pack as much fun stuff into one weekend as we possibly could, and we did a pretty dang good job of it.
How's old Paul Senior doing?
He's good, and he's getting soft as his age goes up, though. Not soft, but like
emotionally.
Yeah, emotionally, especially with the grandkids. Oh my gosh!
Oh
man.
yeah, I love that though. That's awesome.
But growing up, like I'd probably seen him cry one time in like 20 years, and now like one weekend he'll cry like 5 times about the grandkids.
Oh, that's funny.
But so I know what my future is going to look like. I can just look at him and be like, "Yep, okay, that's where I'm headed."
Yeah, if you did, y'all are spitting images of each other. So great. Well, shout out to Paul Senior. What a legend.
What a legend.
I was looking at pictures the other day of when NFR came up through, and I was scrolling through, and there's your dad's in a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh yeah, that was so much fun. We had a great time. Both the dads, you guys' whole families were out there. That was awesome. I hadn't met either of them. Got to meet them all in the same week and hang out with them together. That was fun.
Yeah, it was a good week. I'm ready for it to be back. I really haven't gone. I really haven't.
Or rodeo.
NFR. I really haven't gone anywhere. I really haven't gone anywhere since then. Like I mean, I've had a couple high-low rodeos, but I haven't really had a whole lot to travel for. The Columbia River Circuit School, some high-low rodeos, 3 of them, and that's been it. So it's been a crazy season of being at home, and parenting is much harder when you're actually there all the time, like 7 days a week. It's
how old is Conley now?
She's gonna be 8 this fall.
So 7. First time in almost 8 years that you've been home for a long.
That I've been home like this much. This is probably outside of being injured. This is probably the longest stretch of time in which I've not really traveled. I might have had a day trip or 2 here or there, but I mean, February 5th or 6th, I came home, and I haven't really gone anywhere since.
She was probably
last time he's been anywhere.
Yeah.
Was she born? She'll be 8. So was she still born when you were on your hiatus from competing? Or
yeah, and that she was. Yes, she was born. She was born 2 months before I got on my first one back.
Oh, so not very long then.
Yeah, not very long. Like that's kind of one of the reasons why, like, it's probably a midlife crisis. I'm having a kid, and I don't know what to do with myself, and I quit rodeoing. I probably shouldn't have quit rodeoing.
20
and and so I like started working out. But that was one of the main things that made me. I mean, I was working out. I wasn't training. I wasn't doing things right. We've talked about that a lot. But like, I was very consistent with my working out because it was no longer just me going to play rodeo. I had a job. Now I was, full-time rodeo coach, and I had a kid on the way. And so I knew if I was going to go do this, I mean, I started working out in July, and I didn't get on my first one until November. And it was like, so it was 4 months or something like that of pretty consistent 4 to 5 days a week of working out. So, no, it was just I took a break. So I took a 2-year hiatus. I quit in 2014. I broke my collarbone at the circuit finals in the second round on Mary Jane of Dakotas. Not that you guys care, but anyway, it's burned into my brain. And I was like just gonna get healed up and come back, and I just never came back. I was really involved with our campus ministry at the time, and was like thinking maybe I was like gonna go into ministry full time, and then I kind of started pursuing that, and I really missed rodeo, and a rodeo coaching position came open, and so I like kind of went that route, and so I took about a full 2 years off there just randomly. Right. I mean, from the time I was like 25 to 27, I was 27 when I bought my rookie card. So I used 5 permits before. And anyway,
well, it's about time to come back again. Let's go.
Yeah. It's been July of what?
21, I think.
So yeah. So it's been
almost 3 years.
Coming up on 3 years. Yeah, it's time to crack back out. Not exact. I mean, I've been asked a lot lately. Man, are you gonna get on one? You want to get on one? You hungry for it? You itch for it? And like,
I'm not hungry for it.
Yeah, I'm definitely. Yeah, I have the itch more now than I did for the first 3 years after quitting. Maybe it's because I've been home with the kids so much here lately. But I do have the itch a little bit more than I used to. But I know that I'm not going to be the best version of myself unless I pack a bag and I go get on 3 or 4 a week, and I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like I have the itch to get on bulls every day, but I do not have the itch to rodeo. Like I have not had that one single time. Like I do not miss the road, so to speak.
No, that's the thing I don't miss and I do enjoy travel. You know, I really enjoy I know the spot to get lunch at dozens of airports across the country. You know, like I know the good rental car companies and like all the stuff, and I do enjoy that. But I have what I don't miss is, hey Dad, when are you coming home? Hey Dad, how long are you going to be gone? Hey, FaceTimes and all that stuff. It's just not worth it to me.
All that stuff,
all that stuff. It's just not worth it to me to, and it might be different
now, traveling for work.
Like, it does, but yeah, it does happen. And that's the thing. I quit rodeoing because I didn't want to travel, and I traveled just as much for quite a while. I've traveled just as much not rodeoing as I did when I was going, but I don't enjoy. And at that point in time, my job now, it supports my family very well. Rodeo did not do that for me. We were making it. You know what I'm saying? I was like not going in the hole to ride bucking horses. Well, that's a lot of tears and a lot of frustration and a lot of upset kids to break even. Like, I'll pass. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's not that way. There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of guys out there that are professional rodeo athletes that travel all the time and that have multiple kids. But you know what? That rodeo pays them. It pays them well, and they're able to buy houses and take care of their family by riding bucking horses, and that's just the job. And I love that, and I respect that, and I think that's great. It just wasn't doing that for me because I wasn't very good. So I decided to stay home. Dude. Yeah, no, for sure. So I just decided to
fighting an uphill battle the entire time that we were like learning and figuring rodeo out, and we didn't have all the things that are available now, which is just it is what it is.
You're exactly right.
But and also when you were having to travel more, starting a new thing is because like you were starting a whole new chapter of life in the middle of a full swing of life. Like there's a lot of shit going on, man, and to start something and build something, it takes a lot of grinding and going, and I almost don't even like the term grind anymore because it's just so overused and misunderstood.
Well, Logan burned us out on it on years 1 and 2.
Just grinding. Yeah, years 1 and 2, just grinding. I haven't said that in a long time.
You haven't because
you guys have shamed me. You shamed it out of me for sure. Yeah, you like shamed it out of me, so I don't say it anymore.
What happens when you grind all the time? You turn into dust.
Yeah, well, that's a thing for sure.
That actually is.
No, I completely agree. But I do think that like when we had Tyson Durfee on, if you guys that listen to this haven't listened to our episode with Tyson Durfee, you should definitely go find it because it was phenomenal. But one of the things I learned about myself on that podcast was that I wasn't as successful as I could have been in rodeo only because I gave up too early.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It wasn't because I couldn't do it.
Dude,
or I
that's
wasn't
hurting
good enough,
anything,
or
isn't it?
I just
That's
gave up
wild.
too early is all.
Yep.
And I'm good with it. I have no like bitterness or resentment there. But I can realize now that I tried until I hit the wall one time, and then I was like, all right, let's try to hit this wall maybe one more time. I hit it the second time, and I was like, this is stupid. I'm done. As opposed to the people that really make it, especially a lot of guys that make it that come from backgrounds like we came from, trying to figure it out. They hit the wall 1,000 times, man, and they finally get through it. But yeah, I just, you got to keep. I'm not going to use the word grinding. You have to keep hustling. Is that acceptable?
Keep
You
experimenting.
have to keep moving.
Keep trying.
Yep.
Like new
Keep trying.
strategies. And that's the man. I was talking to Nick Leica with Beastmaster, and I was talking with Paul the other day, and he said something to me that just has stuck with me since he said it. And it was talking about using like turn downs or getting no's or something not going the right way as that's great because now you figured out a way that it doesn't work and you get to go try it a different way. And the people that are successful in anything, they just keep experimenting. They keep going. They don't stop, right? And that's just like you were saying, you've realized now, or looking back, that damn, I needed to keep trying in order to keep going and getting better at this and just trying different strategies at it, right? If you're doing something, getting the same results over and over and over, you've got to change something. Use each year as an experience as a rodeo athlete, each rodeo as an experience, or an experiment. If something's not going right, did this work for me? Yes. Keep that. Keep using it. Did this other thing work? That didn't work at all. Drop it. Next thing. Like, keep experimenting on things that make you. There's a thing about your style is a thing as a rodeo athlete, or especially a rough stock rider. Everyone does the same thing essentially, but everyone's got their own style. So I was thinking about I was talking with Cody Custer as well the other day about bull riding and his schools and clinics, and he was saying, it's just so damn confusing about they get told 5 different ways to do one thing, and it's so hard to get them to resonate with them, right? Or understand what a guy is trying to say. So what if coaches could align and use the same terminology and, help each other in that aspect? So when they'll get something different from every school, even if it's the same terminology. It's different people teaching it. But if we can only use the same words to teach it using their style, we're going to get so much further. And I think the next generation of rodeo athlete is going to freaking evolve so fast.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Completely agree. Yeah, there's more resources available to this generation than ever before. Now they have to have the work ethic and the determination to be able to follow through on those things. But I really do think that the best days of professional rodeo are yet ahead of us. We haven't seen the amount of money that guys are going to be able to stack up in a season and in a career. The things that people are going to be able to do in the arena, like it's only going to become more and more athletic. And so I'm excited for the future. It makes me excited for my kids if they do decide to pursue that route, because I know that they'll have opportunities and resources available to them that we dreamed of when we were their age, and so it makes me excited for the possibilities for them if it is something they choose to do.
Are you about to have a Paul Senior moment? It looks like you're going to cry.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not close to crying yet. But I mean, I could maybe.
That's true, man. He's like,
but yeah,
just give me a second. I can work up some tears.
Just give me a second. I can work some tears up. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that the best days of pro rodeo are on their way.
HOOEY has the best gear because it's tough, it's durable, it withstands the test of what we put it through, and that is why I am a big supporter of HOOEY brands. Guys, from hats, apparel, whatever you need, they've got you covered. They are the perfect blend of rodeo style and athletic performance. You can check them out at HOOEYbrands.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, is going to save you a little bit at checkout. Here's the deal. Lots of rodeo gear companies are coming out, but not all are equal. Beastmaster is really setting the bar when it comes to the equipment that is built for durability and designed for success in the arena. You guys can check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving24. That's ChampionLiving24. Going to save you a little bit at checkout. They are, man. I'm excited about it too. Hey, I do want to talk about something in particular today. And I personally have been experiencing something like this, but I also had a kid. He's not a client, but he just reached out and asked about, he's been working out for 4 months and hasn't had any like serious changes aesthetically or strength wise or anything in about a month. And so I was kind of just picking his brain about, what he'd been doing. And then I started looking at my own training, and I told you guys, this is just part of life. Like, I'm not always motivated. Just because we're coaches doesn't mean that we don't have days where we don't want to work out or don't want to do stuff. But I have not been just like pumped to work out. I've been doing it, but it's been pretty much the same thing over and over. I kind of sat back and looked at it, and for the 2 months, I've done the same workouts over and over and over. And it doesn't feel like 2 months. It happens so fast. I haven't lost anything. I've gained a little bit of like muscle, but I definitely haven't added any numbers to anything or anything like that. So what do we do? I think that's probably pretty common. People, especially monitoring their own training, are running into plateaus and think the option is to just keep doing that thing more and more and more. And that's, we've got to change some things, right? We've got to understand a plateau, why that happens, recognizing the signs of it, and then we can start getting into some strategies to overcome it. Just like we said, plateau is, you're not seeing any changes. You're not, depending on your goals. If it's strength, aesthetics, performance, you have to continually change the variation of what you're doing. Or the flip side, the more extreme side, is doing way too much. Training way too hard, too many times a week, which can also add to, you're not going to see any changes or any progress. And then the other piece of this is going to be, what's your recovery look like? You can work out, change the variations, and do all those things correctly, but if you're not recovering appropriately, your body's not going to be able to adapt. Anything to add to that?
No, just kind of it almost recaps what you said, but like the 3 most common offenders for plateaus that I've experienced in my life are doing the same thing for too long. Our bodies are really good at adapting, so they're going to get used to what we do on a normal basis. So if you do the same thing for too long, eventually it's going to become mundane to your body because it's now proficient at that. And if you don't change the stimulus, like make it harder, add weight, whatever, you don't change anything, you just get really good at it and you won't see any change. A lack of recovery, or I'll group these two together: high stress and or lack of recovery. That will cause plateaus because your body is just not able to adapt in the way that you are wanting it to. And so you just kind of feel drained all the time. And then you're not able to push in the gym hard enough to see the adaptation. And then the third one that I've run into before is just boredom. You just get bored, like kind of burned out, or just not you've been pursuing a particular goal for a certain amount of time, but maybe that goal like it's not really what you wanted. You thought you might have wanted that goal, but then you get on the path to it and you're like, this isn't really, I don't really care about this. And so then you just get bored.
Yeah, I think something you said in there, and Doug kind of alluded to too, that we should probably clarify, is like doing the same thing too long. There are staple movement patterns that you should be doing every week. You need to squat. It's not like,
when I say same thing, I mean like you're using the same weight, you're doing the same reps, you're doing it at the same time. Like everything is the same.
Everything's the same. That's exactly right. Yes. And in fact, like it would be better for you to, pick some movements and kind of stick with those movements for a couple months at a time, but change the stimulus, like you were talking about, whether it's the weight, whether it's, the reps, the rest. There's different things that we can manipulate, but you'll also not get very far if you go into the gym every week and you do a whole new set of exercises, like, I'm going to do this week, and next week I'm going to do this. Got to keep the body guessing, like we have those classes, they have those classes called muscle confusion. And it's like, oh my gosh, what are you guys doing? There's absolutely really no science in this. No, there wasn't. It was just marketing. Got it. Okay, cool. So the doing some getting efficient at a movement pattern is a helpful thing, so that you can lift more or lift with tempo or do more reps, or there's lots of different ways in which you can progress exercises and bust through plateaus. But if you do 8 reps of bench press with 135 pounds for 6 months, it's not going to take you 6 months. You're going to stop seeing results pretty quick. You do the same thing over and over and over.
Well, that's a good point that you brought that up. Is like no variety gets you no results.
Yep.
Too much variety gets you no results. So like that sweet spot is somewhere in the middle there.
Yep. That's exactly right.
That middle part is so important because of the nervous system adaptations, or you get better at that skill is part of while you are lifting more weight, right? While you're able to generate, you have to practice that to get better at it. So if you're wanting to increase your squat, if you're not squatting every week, like, you're not going to get that much better at squat, right? It's like you can't squat one week and then your main focus is leg press, and then your main focus is I don't know, some other, leg extension, and then you're like, go back and retest your squat. It's like, your squat's not going nowhere. You have to continually practice that, right? Just because you're working on your legs doesn't mean the squat's going to get any better. That's why
you have to do the thing. You have to. That's what we say all the time. You actually have to do the thing. You want to ride bulls better, you got to get on bulls. You want to, you want to back squat more or back squat better, you got to actually back squat.
But okay, real quick, not to beat a dead horse, but I think the most common place we see this plateau is aerobically. People in just general space, general life, or even in rodeo, you're trying to lose weight. Automatic intuition is to go run or walk or whatever. Our bodies are really, really good at adapting to aerobic activity, meaning burning less energy to get you further the more you do it, right? So if let's say you're running 2 miles a day and you do that for a month and you see great changes. That second month, if you don't increase the distance or increase the speed, you're going to decrease. Your results will continue to decrease from there. You won't see changes. You have to keep moving it. And the thing about cardio is it's great. We do need cardio for general health and for rodeo in totally different ways. But that means you have to continue to go longer and longer and longer. And there comes a certain point, like, you don't have time for that. That's not a consistent thing. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to consistently. So
exactly.
The mixture of both is where it's at.
Yep.
And
I had a client this weekend that literally had that exact same story. I mean, he's only been with me for about 2 months, but he's had 40-pound weight fluctuations pretty consistently. He'll get on the treadmill and run consistently for a couple months, lose 40 pounds. He'll stop because life happens. Life is life. It gets crazy. He'll stop, gains 40 pounds, get back on the treadmill, lose 40 pounds. And we've been lifting weights primarily. He's doing a little bit of jogging because he enjoys it. Totally fine. You can supplement, but we've been doing resistance training. His posture has improved. He's wearing t-shirts that he hasn't worn in years. He told me the other day, he was like, man, I haven't been able to, this was a pajama shirt for the long time because my belly pushed it out, and it I couldn't wear it in public. It was just a pajama shirt. And so he's wearing clothes, and it's only been 2 months, but he's been primarily resistance training with a little bit of cardio in there too. It's more sustainable for the long term.
Absolutely. That's the body remembers, man. Either way, like, you lose a bunch of weight, you gain muscle, the body remembers. It can do the same thing again, right? And that's why we see a lot of people that we have worked with in the past and currently working with that have had that same journey, man, of the ups and downs of rapid weight loss and weight gain. And it's just, it's crazy that the body is capable of doing that so often. But it really comes down to your habits during those times, and just people get bored. People get content. That's not the word, man.
Complacent.
Complacent. Yes. Easy to do.
Yep.
To do. And especially when you're breaking, you have these old habits that you're breaking. It's easy to fall back into those if you're not continually working forward, right? Sorry, let's get back on track with this. Overcoming plateaus. We've basically been hinting at this word periodization and the concept of this is how you break plateaus. This is how you see consistent change. And periodization means that you are consistently changing the intensity volume over time with the same movements. And if you have a coach, they're going to set up macro, micro cycles, an actual strategy and plan behind why they are using these rep schemes, percentages, if they're using percentages or RPE or whatever, in accordance with what your goals are when you're training, right? Yeah. So let's line up an example. Let's just like a quick program and show them, like demonstrate what 6 to 8 weeks of periodization would look like. Let's say for, I don't know, for a rodeo athlete, obviously, but let's go timed event. We always go rough stock. Calf ropers.
Ooh, calf ropers.
Goat tires.
I think
people dismounting their horse.
Yeah, I think that we have to first
have to what? Be good at what?
They're gonna have to dismount.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Yeah, in the sport, I mean, number one, we've got to be able to decelerate. That's the biggest thing that I think of when I think of goat tying and tie down roping is as they're going down the rope, they're getting off their horse in that stop. So they're slung a lot of times forward. They want to use that momentum. So they're not really sprinting to the goat or to the calf. They're actually decelerating. So that's one of the things that we would want to work on in a program that would be periodized in, as well as like their ability to get off of the horse, right? And there's lots of exercises that might mimic that pattern that we can work, whether we're doing different variations of step ups or eccentric, really slow step downs, and some of those things. And then of course the actual flank. One of the things that I've put in, and I find that I get a lot more consistency with my calf ropers if some of the exercises in their program are pretty close to mimicking their sport, right? And so it's hard to necessarily see how a back squat relates to calf roping, even though we know that it's essential for rodeo athletes to be able to do some variation of a squat, but some sort of high pull, where they're, and it's like, they can feel how that directly is going to translate to the arena. And so the flank, and then of course the tie,
so on
being able to have the hip mobility.
On week one with those things, where would you start on, let's say, your power movement, your deceleration? What's the first movement you're going to pick?
I'm gonna think about preparing their body for the deceleration. And so like for me, we're doing some sort of like eccentrics, like single leg eccentric squat to a bench, like that's part of it, as well as actually doing the deceleration. We program in like maybe a 5-yard sprint to deceleration, so they're not getting up to speed, but they are having to figure out how to lower their center of mass and break that speed down and get to. So that would be somewhere that I would start.
Or would you have them stop within a certain amount of steps, or?
Yeah, yardage? Typically like a 3 or a 5 step deceleration, depending on the distance. But that would be for a 5-yard, sprint to deceleration. I would say 3 steps would be plenty.
Okay, cool. So week 1 to week 4, what does the progression look like for those on reps?
On reps, the first week, we're talking about maybe I might have 3 reps in. I mean, we're not going to be doing very much. But then as we progress,
accustomed to it.
Exactly. We're just getting accustomed to it. They're going to be sore, especially, depending on where they're coming from, they're going to be sore. And so then as we progress along in weeks, we might extend the distance, right? Instead of a 5-yard, it might go to a 10-yard. We can also increase the reps, right? So now they're going to probably maybe, have as many as 5 or 6 reps of that. And then we can also incorporate, once I'm pretty confident in their deceleration ability, as well as their body's ability to start thinking about change of direction, week 3 and 4, I might start adding in some change of direction drills so that we can think about how we're planting the foot, how we're putting force into the arena dirt through our foot to change direction in case that goat, goes this way. They're moving at such a high rate of speed, the goat tires are, when they get off their horse. What happens if that goat, on the stake kind of moves around to the left, and you've got to be able to stop your momentum enough to change direction? Well, we can start focusing on that in our program.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you brought that up, week 3 and 4, even if you took 1 through 4 and just did those 2 movements and, increase the amount of times they do those each week, and they continually get better, right? They're going to continually be able to put out more intensity in those things because they are getting more familiar with the thing that they're doing, and they're getting more reps in. And then as you add in another movement, that is adding volume. Like that's changing that's adding more reps, that's adding more things to it because you're adding a whole other exercise. So you've got to think about the sets being added to that, and if that's a great way to progress it. Yes, is what I'm trying to say. I think a lot of people on the flip side, do this workout and they go pick something else that has, 5 times the exercises. I'm sorry, 5 more exercises than the last one, and they have a huge, they're sore for 4 days or 5 days. Like, well, dude, you just increased the intensity by a lot. It didn't seem like it was just 4 or 5 extra exercises, but 3 or 4 sets of however many reps, like that's a lot of extra reps. It's good to think about those things.
Well, your coach should be counting, there's exactly. And that's you got to think about, one of the things that we think about as coaches is like repetition volume. And so how many reps of something are we doing, especially when you start to get into some of those more high intensity movements, whether it's a depth drop or something of that nature, right? I'm going to be thinking about how many foot touches do we have? How many repetitions are we doing over the course of this entire workout? Because even if it's just 2 or 3 sets here, 2 or 3 sets there, those reps add up, like you said. And next thing you know, if you're not paying attention, week 1, you had moderate volume, light to moderate volume. Week 2, light to moderate volume. Then you got excited. And week 3 and 4, you go to high volume. You add in a couple exercises, like you said, and just a handful of reps across a few. Man, it adds up quick. And then they're wrecked and they're super sore when they go to the roping or to the high school rodeo or college rodeo on Friday and Saturday, Thursday. They're like sore to the point that it could potentially, it could affect their performance. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, that's totally right. And then you said a high pull, which I think is a great movement as well. We're talking about strength, I would go strength with that. You could say hypertrophy if you wanted. That'd be a lot of reps, but increasing the strength, you need to, let's say you had 5 reps, 3 sets on week 1. I would continue to do 5 reps, 3 sets on week 2. I would probably add a set for 4 sets, 5 reps, 4 sets, week 3 and 4. And then you could add even a little progression on 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. But you're continually adding. My goal is always like 2.5 to 5 pounds per week to that movement. You're doing the same amount of reps, but you're adding weight a little bit each week. And that's changing the stimulus. That's changing the intensity. And that's going to, again, help you to avoid those plateaus. And it might be, once you get to a certain point, there might be a couple weeks where you do have to do the same weight. Because as we get better and the more reps we get, the more the older we get in our training age, results progression's slow. And we know that, right? There's a huge bump when you're a beginner. You learn quick and you see big gains, which is badass. But as you progress in this, it does get harder to see those gains, right? But I think both of those are great examples of periodization, how to take, plyometrics, change of direction, movements, power movements, rate of force development, and a strength movement, and progress those. And it's not sexy. Like, it's the same, we're talking about the same movements, just a little bit different on the reps or the weight or the sets, but that you have to do that. You have to practice them to get better. And that's where you see it transition over to the arena, is because when you learn these fundamentals, these movement patterns in the gym in a controlled setting, you don't have to think about learning that movement in an uncontrolled setting, which is what most of these athletes are doing, right? They're learning the roping, the dismount, and all this before they ever have the capacity to actually do it at a high end.
Yeah.
If they flip that, holy smokes. Got Ty Harris.
That's yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's it, man.
I think the other thing that's important to touch on while you're on periodization is just like it really varies and depends. I hate to use that, but depends on your training history, your training background, where you're coming from. There are so many things. What we just described would be right for a large portion of athletes that are getting started with some training with us. And I don't know where you're at, but I have to look at where have you been in the gym or in the weight room or never been in the weight room before. What have you done in the past? And then I have to decide, okay, where I think you're at. And then we can build your program from there. And that periodization, that's why if you've ever had a consult with a champion living coach, or maybe you're a client recently, we have contract lengths, and the longer the contract, the cheaper the price point. It's not just about financial security. It's actually because we can do our job better. If I know that I'm going to work with you for 12 months, now I can look at where do you want to be? Where do I think you could be in 12 months? I also am going to think about what finals do you have coming up, the high school finals, the college finals. What is going to come that's really important to you over the course of those 12 months. I'm going to mark those dates, and then I can work backwards from where I think you're going to be. And based on where you currently are, I'm going to meet you where you're at. And so maybe muscle endurance is the first thing we work on. And we have a 6-week block where we're really primarily thinking about muscle endurance. And then we can get into some strength, or maybe it's maybe you've been working out and muscle endurance is there, and we can kind of go right into some strength stuff. Really depends on where you've been and where you're going. You know what I'm saying? Where your coach is trying to take you. But that periodization, that's why so many people hit those plateaus, is because they don't know what they want to do in a year from now. And so they're just going into the gym, just winging it. You know what I'm saying? Every day, it's just like different variations of the same workout, hoping that they see progress instead of actually sitting down and planning it out.
Right. Absolutely. And if your head's spinning after that, that's a good indicator you probably should hire a coach. Like, that's how hard. No, it's like, that is how hard it is. This is not, it's not simple. You have to know what you're doing. You don't have a sore tooth and look in the mirror and go get the drill out, right? You go to the dentist because that dude's trained to do that. At face value, it seems pretty simple. Just drill this thing out and I'll just stuff it with some filling. I don't know. No, it's not. So, but fitness is one of those things that it is at everyone's grasp. Anybody can do fitness, but it also allows for a lot of people to control their own and run into problems like this, running into plateaus, not seeing changes, not seeing the progression in their performance. And it's because you're not working with someone that actually knows what they're doing. There is methods, there is reason to fitness. It's not just a bunch of shit thrown at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's why we do what we do. That's why we've gotten the educations that we have. That's why we continually every day are reading articles and learning about this, because there is science behind fitness, strength and conditioning. And the bottom line is, if you're not seeing the results yourself, it's because you don't have the time to go learn and educate yourself on that. And that's okay, because that's not your job. I tell that to rodeo athletes all the time. Like, why are you wasting your time making your own workouts that are not nearly as beneficial as they could be from a professional, and you're prolonging the time that it's going to take you to get where you want to go, because you're not focusing out. You're taking time away from what you could be focusing on that you're good at. It's just
exactly. Yeah, preach, dude. You're exactly right.
It's an uphill battle, and it's an ego thing for sure. It might be a money thing, but there's a will, there's a way. And the money that we charge for training is not life-changing money. It's not going to destroy you on a month-to-month. The reason that we do it is to help guys. And it chaps my ass seeing a lot of these guys posting their professional opinions about their strength and conditioning, and it just being so far off base from what is actually known to be true and correct, right? It kills what we're doing.
Yeah.
It just makes it more confusing for everyone. Because like what you were saying, like that shit is confusing if you don't know what you're talking about. Same if you walked into an OR and surgeons are performing a surgery and you'd be like, yep, that's Chinese. I don't know what they're saying. Same thing, man. Like knowing when to incorporate strength, power movements, change of direction. When is it safe for you to do plyometrics? Can a beginner just go do plyometrics? Can they go do change of direction? Should they do a 1 rep back squat right off the bat? I don't know. Like that's things that I would hire a professional to do. So if that's where you're at and you're having all these questions, and it really is that important to you to see progress in your fitness or the arena or just life, like it's time to make the investment. Time to pull the trigger.
Yep.
And like I've said before, you can always go to our website, www.championlivingfitness.com, fill out the athlete sign-up form. It's a free consult. You get to talk to one of the coaches for free. We're going to make sure it's a good fit for you, explain everything, answer all your questions, hype you up a little bit. It's a good time.
Yep. Well, having a coach also, it provides some accountability, which can help guys break through those plateaus, right? Is sometimes I've had new clients come on that have worked out pretty consistently or have had a pretty large training history, but they've been going through a slump lately. And it's just because they've just lost the motivation and there's no accountability. And so having a coach, then they're working with me. They know I'm going to see the workout's done or it's not done. And so that added accountability is something that helps them. And next thing you know, they're hitting PRs in a lot of their lifts just because they knew that somebody was counting on them and they were actually putting their money where their mouth is and they're paying somebody. So, I'm making a financial sacrifice now. I think I'll go to the gym. It's easy to let that $20 or $50 a month gym membership just slide in and out of the bank account without ever going to the gym. It's a little bit more difficult when you're talking about hiring a coach and you're making a substantial, not a, like Doug said, not a game-changing amount, but a substantial commitment each month. Financially, you're going to go to the gym. And if you go to the gym, you're going to see progress. And if you see progress, things are going to get better for you in the arena. Duh.
Yeah, and just not even the charge. Like, you're checking in. Like, you aren't working out. I'm saying, dude, what the fuck? What's the deal? And, dude, there are so many. I need that every now and then. Everyone needs that. I just think 90% of the world operates the same and needs an accountability buddy or does better with an accountability buddy in anything they do. There are not that many people that enjoy doing things by themselves. Nothing against that. But accountability helps a lot of people. And as a rodeo athlete, you're an entrepreneur. You are yourself. You're it, baby. Like, there is no one sitting there holding you accountable. So the more people you can get on your side, in your team and in your corner that are going to hold you accountable, the better. In all parts of this, in all aspects of rodeo. We got off track again. That's okay. Let's talk about nutrition real quick. Some adjustments that can be made in breaking plateaus. The importance of rest and sleep. Paul, you've been really quiet this morning. Let's hear
What's
from
up?
you.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like overcoming plateaus, I always look at my nutrition first, probably, before anything else, because I know, at least I know myself well enough to know that if I'm struggling with, say, energy levels or making progress in the gym, like the weights that I'm using is not going up, or I'm not seeing any physical changes, or maybe I'm feeling more drained after my workout than what I should be. I'm always looking at nutrition first, and it's probably because I'm not fueling myself the way that I should be. So, I say this. I had this conversation with Charlie last night, my 3-year-old. I got done with my workout, and she goes, "Were you in there, or are you done building your muscles now?" I said, "No, actually, like this is just the first part." I said, I go in there to challenge my muscles, but I actually build my muscles while I'm sleeping and while I'm eating. And she like couldn't quite wrap her head around it. But I mean, that's the truth is we don't make adaptations in the gym. We make them afterwards. And it has to do with our nutrition and with our sleep. And so, like I said, the nutrition's always the first place I look. I'm usually pretty consistent with my sleep schedule. Usually, not always, but I know that if nutrition is on point, then I need to look somewhere else, and maybe it's one of the other factors that we talked about.
Absolutely, man. And sleep, just bottom line, and this is actual fact. I can't remember the study that I read this off of, but athletes need 9 to 10 hours of sleep a night to properly adapt, recover, and perform at a high level. That is very not popular in rodeo. That's not feasible in rodeo a lot of times. So you have to be paying attention to your nutrition, your training if you are doing anything, but also your output during those competition times and trying to make up for sleep during those times when it's really important. There's a lot of times where a nap's going to do you more than a 20-minute workout, especially during those busy times of the year. So tracking that is really important. If you don't track it, I would recommend getting some kind of device. A Whoop is a great device for tracking your sleep. There's a ton out there though you can get.
Yep. I'll shout this out real quick. Caleb turned me on to an Apple Watch app that does pretty much the same thing as Whoop. It does use the Apple Watch's own statistics and stuff, which I have found not quite as accurate as Whoop, but still for identifying trends, it's very valuable. I can't remember what the name of the app is called, like Athletic or something like that.
You're gonna need to find that out because you've been holding out on me.
I have been.
You were literally one of the reasons why I got an Apple Watch a year ago, and I've just been suffering through the fact that it sucks in comparison to a Whoop.
So Athletic is what it's called, but it summarizes all, because Apple takes a ton of data. Like, it measures your stride length, it measures your sleep and your respiratory rate and all the things that a Whoop does. The big pain in the butt is that Apple Watch won't natively put it into digestible information. So this app Athletic will chart it out just like Whoop does. So you don't have quite the investment, but you still get similar data to go off of.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that.
I'm gonna need that, boy.
Yeah, that recovery is huge. And the other thing that I would add into the nutrition and the sleep is also just your general stress quality, right? If you feel like your nutrition is pretty good and your sleep has been pretty good, like, stress is stress to the body. And so whether it's stuff going on at home, relationship issues, work issues, there's a lot of travel, maybe just a crazy season at work, like, all those things can affect the central nervous system. And that's the reason some days I'm eating pretty well and I have a good night's sleep and I go in the gym and I pick up a 45-pound plate and I'm like, oof,
that's heavy.
That is heavy today. Like, man, there's some fluctuation there. Progress is not always linear. And so understanding that and knowing that sometimes you just need a little bit of a break, and that break is going to help your central nervous system reset, and you'll come back from that break. Sometimes it's called a deload, usually like a week or so of time, in which it's something that I'm doing this week, in which the volume goes way down, and it's just a little bit of a reset for the central nervous system, and it feels like you're taking a step backwards. It feels like, oh no, I'm going to lose the progress, but in fact, just like a rubber band that shoots forward, you have to pull it back first. And so that deload is the pulling back of the rubber band. You'll come back from that deload so much stronger and so much better. And a lot of times, that's why we put deloads in. If we're going to test things, a lot of times we'll put a deload in the week before a test, because I know if you actually do the deload and you get good sleep and you eat good food, we are going to smash those tests that week after. We're going to set PRs. You're going to think I'm the greatest guy ever. Really, I just programmed it up. I periodized it to help your central nervous system adapt to the stress. And you're going to be like, man, this is magic. No, it's not magic. It's just science. Yeah. So take a step back if you need it too. If you're seeing a deload and you've been lifting pretty heavy for a considerable amount of time, step back for a week and see what happens. It's going to be crazy.
And if you're scared of losing all your gains, go back and listen to not our last. I don't think it's the last episode, but maybe the one before, where we talked about the residual training effects. They stick around. Everything except like max speed. Everything else is going to stick around for at least a week. You're going to be fine.
Yep, absolutely. And if you guys are having any more nutrition, you need more nutrition guidance, I would go. The internet is full of nutrition guidance, but there's a couple calculators you can go check out to get your macros. You can. MyFitnessPal is a great app, great resource to track your macros and get started with that. Mind Pump Fitness has a great macro calculator that we all use. They have great resources on counting macros as well. We've got a couple articles in our blog on our website you can check out as well. But there's lots of resources out there, and it's hard to give nutrition advice for people that we aren't talking to, knowing individually, right, without knowing individual statistics. But I would say majority of you are not eating enough. So go find out how much you're supposed to be eating to fuel your body for whatever your activities levels are throughout the day, and you're going to see big changes. Big changes. Hey, we've got some freaking exciting news. I am fired up about this. We have new sponsors, man.
It's exciting,
baby. Some of you may have heard of this app. The Rodeo Now app has joined forces with us to just help the game evolve some more. And I love what they're doing. They have a really, really awesome concept, and I can't believe it hasn't just completely exploded throughout every aspect of rodeo, all the athletes. But the Rodeo Now app is an app that you can all download for free, Apple App Store, Google Play Store, and this app is allowing you it categorizes and tracks your performances. So you can take your rides, your runs, upload them to the app. They can break them down in slow motion. You can store them for later, viewing purposes, whether it's, a bull or a horse that you maybe are going to draw later, or say you're like a college rodeo athlete and you wanted to put together a catalog of rides to show a coach. That would be something you could do there for sure. My favorite thing about this app, though, is the ability to catalog rough stock animals. How many times have you drawn something and there's no stats, and you are like searching for any kind of video to see if this is going to be worth going to get on? And this is something else that I've been thinking about. Stock contractors, if you're not using this app, you are a damn fool. And I mean that with the most love. But how many of you have calves, have colts that you are bringing to rodeos, and they're getting turned out every single time unless someone draws them that is new and doesn't know any better? It's not the fact that they don't think your colt is good. It's the fact that these guys don't want to be test dummies for your animals anymore. And that's understandable. Yeah. But we also understand that there are a lot of superstars that are young athletes, and they shouldn't be held back from that. All you got to do is upload a video to this and say, look, yeah, it's young, but look at this thing. Dude, that's going to change everything for the contractors, for the committees. It'll decrease turnouts, I bet. Like, dude, I can't tell you how many guys I know turn out colts just because they're colts, and I can't blame them. Especially after last year. There are bad things that happen in the arena we can't control. So if you can minimize that by not, quote unquote, having to be a test dummy, it's good.
Yeah.
But we got to give those superstars a chance. We got to give those younger animals a chance. And this is a great opportunity for stock contractors to change the game in this sense, man. This is a huge step for you guys to be able to change the entire relationship that happens between cowboy and contractor. No more just like, you don't have to go off the word anymore. You can have proof. You can show them. You can show them how badass your young stuff is coming up. And it fires me up, man. It gets me excited, but it also fires me up. Like, why is people should be jumping to this thing?
Yeah. The other thing that it'll do for stock contractors is it'll let your phone be a little bit more quiet rodeo week. A lot of stock contractors are producers of rodeos. And I know that Dustin, like in working with Hilo, Dustin Murray with Hilo, I mean, he gets texts all week long, starting Tuesday night when stock comes out. What's this horse? What's this horse? What's this horse? And he's got albums on his phone of all the, and he'll send some videos. Yeah. There would be no need for that. If you would put all of them on Rodeo Now, like you just tell them, hey, go check out the animals on Rodeo Now. All my videos are there. Then people aren't going to be bugging you all week. They know that they have access, and all the guys can see your stuff. Not to mention, when it comes time for voting, whether it's circuit finals animals or NFR animals, there's a central location in which you can get all those videos. The committees could just go right to Rodeo Now app and go through the videos of the animals that are on the list right there without having to reach out to this contractor, send me your, 5 videos of this animal or, whatever, and having to, you got videos right there. So if there's something that you're not sure of, it's on the line. These guys know the animals pretty well at that point in time, especially when you're thinking about the NFR. But maybe there's some that every year there's some that are on the bubble. Man, I don't know. I didn't see it with my own eyes. Caleb might say, but like somebody else is vouching for it. I don't know. There were videos on Rodeo Now. You wouldn't have to. I saw it with my own eyes. I watched the videos. Boom.
And the biggest thing here is you guys got to use the app. Like, everyone needs to start using the app to start getting the stats and all the videos up there. That's the only way this is going to work, right?
Yep.
So go download Rodeo Now app right now. It's free. Go check it out, create an account, and start uploading Start, and I'm pretty sure when you can tag like the horse and it'll categorize the. So you got on Delta Ship, I got on Delta Ship. Both those rides will be under Delta Ship. I'm almost certain. I'm not 100%. But the best part about this is we're going to have them on next week. So what days do our podcast release? Monday?
Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday. So next Monday, we'll have them on live. We're going to be asking tons of questions, but just hearing about how they got this started, where it came from, it's a cool story. And it's kind of close to home in all of our rodeo lives. I know for sure. They were always great to us when we were younger too. So excited to introduce them next week. And like we said, y'all go download this app, go check it out, go start uploading videos, whatever it is, like whatever event. The slow motion ability is sick. You get to see exactly where you can break it all down and save those runs in one place, compare them to your next runs. One-stop shop. And I was even thinking, like, what about selling horses? Like, if you have horses, you're, a barrel horse trainer or a roping horse trainer, whatever, a catalog of all these horses what they can do with their runs, their practice runs, what they can do options are endless. Options are endless. It's a cool deal. So we're excited, proud to be teamed up with them because they're blazing their own trail in the Western industry, and we're all about that, teaming up with trailblazers, man, with freaking Mavericks, right? Guys, that's an awesome episode.
Changing the game.
Damn right.
Changing the game.
Damn right. Till next time, we'll catch you later. Y'all, if you're having trouble sleeping or you've got really achy muscles, Power Pro CBD has teamed up with us to bring you their tinctures and their warming lotions. Guys, these have been a crucial part of my nightly routine. Y'all can check them out at PowerPro, PWRpro.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving, all one word, to save you a good chunk at discount.